Hey, it's one thing to get caught off guard by the things that are just unexpected that happen in therapy. But it's another thing to try and be ready. Like, where are the predictable places where we can see that red light kind of response from the caregiving system show up? Let's help make those things clearer today. And how can we be with some of these predictable places?
Welcome to the Leading Edge in Emotionally Focused Therapy with your hosts, Dr. James Hawkins and Dr. Ryan Rana. EFT is a dynamic model that humbles even the most seasoned therapists. Together, we want to come alongside you as you continually push the leading edge of your understanding and application of this wonderful model developed by Dr. Sue Johnson.
All right, everybody, it's good to be back with you. And I know we've kind of had some different guests on and some different topics. We took a break from our Stage 2 series and went into a mini series on caregiving nightmares. Took a break on that. Ryan's been on the road, just, out there in the EFT world, meeting some great people. And now we got him back in the studio. So we're going to pick back up with the caregiving nightmares and some of these predictable places where those red lights of the caregiving system show up. But
it's good to be back. That's where I want to do my thank you today, because this will be mistimed when listeners hear this. But that's all right. Yeah. It's holiday season for us. I'm wrapping up my 2025 year. I did about 20 trainings, a little more than I probably need to. But I just want to say thank you for the investment, how hard people worked. You and I think, do a lot of the 3-day hyper intensive version of core skills. On day 3, folks are like barely making it to the chair, and I'm like, are they all right? And call somebody. But the level of engagement and how much people care means a lot to me. I know a lot of the listeners on here haven't trained with me in person, but I just want to say we appreciate you, man. Your work matters, and we thank you for how much you invest in your community.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. I've been thinking, I took the holiday season off in little ways, but it feels like I wrapped up a season it feels like an athletic season. Like I've been out on the road, and it's not just about the training. It's like, I feel like I've been out amongst therapists, and I've gotten to sit and look in their eyes and hear their stories about what they're facing, the challenges that they're working through. And I would tell you all in this off season, you've really been on my mind. Like, how do I get better? How do I explain this differently? What are the different things that, whether on this podcast or success and vulnerability, or when we go out into training, even talking to other trainers, just how can we help serve you and make you better? And the last episode that you'll hear before this one is, even Leanne Campbell just talking about, the trauma book. And even behind the scenes, Leanne is not just excited about the book. She's really excited about equipping you all in the EFT world, about creating a piece of work that maybe we could come together and talk about. A big thing when I asked Leanne, she's like, I want community. I want to see if we can help form more community in EFT. So anyway, thank you for you all and what you do.
Yeah. And not to overly use Army military analogies. Wait, what were you, Sergeant?
Yeah, one-time sergeant, then I got commissioned as lieutenant.
Lieutenant, all right, Lieutenant. Sorry, my apologies, Lieutenant Hawkins.
I think I got a little bit more respect as a sergeant, but anyway.
all right, exactly. Now, I was actually at a basketball game last night talking about EFT with somebody, and the three modalities: family, individual, couple, which all are so important. But the question was, why do we spend so much time with couple? And we're facing a brutal enemy. We really are. That's why we train so much. That's why we spend so much time on it. It's so important. But these cycles they're tough, man. They're tough. I was on the Facebook page last night trying to answer some questions for folks, and it's like what they're facing is it's pretty awful at times. And so I appreciate the courage and the fact that probably to do our very best work, we got to continue these conversations and continue to grow together and put our differences aside at times and just for the mission. So
for the mission.
Yeah. That's what it's about.
That's good. I like that thing. For the mission. That's good. All right. So for the mission.
Speaking of brutal enemies, Here we go.
Man, I think that some of that, it might feel like violent language, but you know what? It feels violent on their nervous system. And so let's go here. We started this mini series, Caregiving Nightmares, specifically red lights. And as we came in, I appreciate this part of Ryan's wisdom. He just, we were talking about where we're going to go, and he just rattled off 2 things that I thought were I think very important about, now this is general terms here, but like talking about with what's happening in these predictable places in a general way for the pursuer and withdrawer. And you said two things, that usually what's happening there, you start seeing the withdrawer loan out their avoidance and pursuers upping the ante. And remember now, we're talking about them in the caregiving spot.
Right. So yeah, anytime they're in the caregiving spot is what we're talking about here. Step 6, meaning like a stage 2 caregiving spot, but really on the back half of almost any vulnerable enactment, when someone, kind of has that red hat trying to share their world, and then the blue hat, the caregiving system, anytime they're in that spot, they're, it can seem wild and out of control, but really, if you boil this down, people's attachment strategy patterns show up in predictable ways. And as a therapist, if you can predict what's going to go wrong, it's a whole different animal, this whole model, this whole process. And I do think that, in the caregiving response, withdrawers tend to try to loan out what works for them. And what's sad about that is that is a form of responsiveness.
Yeah.
That it's a form of love. It's often misattuned. And then both people are a part of why that's out of tune. Don't forget that. When you see a withdrawer who has a misattuned response, don't lock in on them and miss the systemic context that the partner's also inadvertently doing things that's taking safety away.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I think withdrawers are like, hey, here's what works for me. I don't know what to do. There's a lot happening right here. Maybe try what works for me. And that's a very normal thing. I mean, we do that as parents all the time. If your kid's having trouble in school and you're like, well, here's the spreadsheet I use, why would you not give that to them?
Ooh.
I mean, that would be almost unloving not to try.
Hey, by the way, you hear everything Ryan just said? That's how you might validate the withdrawal.
Exactly.
Right,
you better. You better. Because if you invalidate that withdrawer, their moves are better than you. I promise you that. They will lock you out. Ask me how I know that.
Yeah.
Right. So it is a form of love. It is literally saying, hey, here's what I do. Maybe you try this.
Yep.
And it comes across in different ways. Sometimes that's advice.
Yep.
And as a therapist, it's easy to get judgy because we're expecting this, we've seen EFT, beautiful videos, but don't forget your clients have not finished core skills. They don't understand this. And if you spend 6 sessions trying to explain to them, you just largely wasted 6 sessions. So instead, our nervous system is going to have to learn to tolerate and work with what comes forward.
And that was another piece right there. So one, you have to have the ability. This reminds me when you came back from Sue's memorial service and David, was it David? I think they shared that quote from Sue. When your clients frustrate you, you have to empathize.
Okay.
And so with that, when the pursuer, because that happened to me in a live actually, right? In a stage 2 live with the pursuer softening, I was going to that step 6 and the withdrawer just looks at me and is like, yeah, I'm a relatively positive guy. You know, I don't really sink down into these things and this and that. And so I want to help her, but I mean, maybe she could try and be positive like me. And this, and I was like, hey, I so appreciate that you have that gear to not let life just suck and just to get stuck in this place. And then your best thing you have right there is to try and give her the same thing. Like maybe it'll help her get out. But then at the same time, I had to lead out with that.
Trying to find parts or versions.
I like that.
Yeah. But again, I think it's important to have that paradigm.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if you look at it from the surface, it's going to seem so misattuned. And I had a withdrawer years ago who loved the phrase, learn to be comfortable in your own skin. It's kind of a, individuation, differentiation mindset. Withdrawers love that, right? Because it makes perfect sense with their strategy. But he would say that phrase a lot. Okay. And it did land awful, right? Basically telling your partner who's upset, just learn to be comfortable in your own skin. Just differentiate, right? But again, if you can unpack that, like that's how he survives, or that's what that withdrawer does in their world, or that seems like it seems to them that that's been an effective strategy. So all they're saying is, hey, I love you. Try this. This is the best thing I know to say right now. So they really need us to work with that to find the longing underneath the strategy by working with the ineffective strategy and validation and interpreting the attachment function of what's going on, honoring that, which opens the door. and see if we can touch the other part. Who cares?
Yes, but key catch the language, Ryan said. We get to that part by working with the that strategy that's happening in front of us. Not just skipping past it, not trying to say, oh, no, by working with it. That's a huge thing.
It is. And it's so tempting to just want to bypass it. I think EFTers in particular can really struggle with that. Because we so want to go to the heart. We so want to work with the underlying emotion. We want to get to the vulnerable. But remember, if I can't work with your protective strategy, I don't deserve to see your vulnerability. Right? Think about that.
That's right.
If you can't meet me where I'm struggling, why would I show you a even more deep, vulnerable part of me? Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go to the practical with that withdrawer piece, or do you want to go ahead and bounce back up to the pursuer piece?
Let's go ahead and do practical.
Okay.
We'll do pursuer after the break. How about that?
Sounds good.
We just had a little meeting right in front of you.
Yep, that's right. Process check-in right there. Yeah. So let me go back then. So let's go talk about working with. So I think the first move that you have in that one goes without saying, if y'all know me, you have to regulate your nervous system first as a therapist.
Yes.
To see what's happening and say to curiosity and compassion. That's if you can't get those first two, the rest of your interventions are going to be off.
Yeah, I like that. I would even say layered preparation.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think we need to have a little bit of pre-regulation of our system before every couple comes in your office. Different than individuals. Like especially if you see someone that maybe has trauma history or has a difficult cycle, you need a few 3 or 4 deep breaths before you go get them. Whether you're letting them in Zoom or going to the waiting room, you need to go, hey, this is going to be hard. This is supposed to be hard. I can do hard things. They're supposed to block me. Get ready to stay with the process. If you're not ready to do that, you're probably going to go do your strategy. Now we have 3 people doing their attachment protection systems. And so, yeah.
Wow, that created a graphic for me right there. But anyway, so it's a layered preparation, before session preparation, I guess maybe in the moment.
When it happens, yes.
And then maybe even after, how do you talk to yourself to process and make sense out of?
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but back in, so
there's a new series right there.
I know, I wrote that down. And I'm like, okay, that happened at 12 minutes in. I'm going to go pull that segment out. All right, but back in. So one is even just being able to, regulate yourself.
Yeah.
Look at it and have curiosity. But then I think the big practical one here is move towards it with 3 to 5 validations of what you're seeing happen in front of you and the good reasons why it's probably happening.
Yeah. So. And speaking of numbers there, it's a fine line between using too much specific structure, which can pull you out of attunement, or not giving enough structure, which will pull you out of attunement. Right? So numbers matter, though, just from watching a lot of videos. There is a magic 3 to 5 here. And just something to put in your back pocket. I don't want you literally in there counting per se, but if someone says something like, be comfortable in your own skin, and the therapist stops them halfway through their first sentence, that doesn't give enough oxygen to that withdrawer, even though they're doing something that's not so helpful. Okay. So, but if more commonly, if I sit and give the withdrawer their 12th sentence, now they're up at the lectern teaching us all how to withdraw.
Yeah.
And a lot of therapists are like, oh, tell me more. Help me. I want to let this person finish their thoughts. No, you don't. No, that's not their thoughts. That's the cycle's thoughts. So about that 4th sentence, we need to get over there and interrupt in some way. So
thank you for bringing that back. So it is regulate yourself. Then there's got to be like I would say an attuned interruption or something like that.
Yep.
Where you give them
assertive.
that time. That's right.
Containing, yeah.
That's right. For their protection and for the protection of the process and the partner.
Keeping the cycle from taking over.
Then coming in with that validation and maybe even a reframe of the strategy you're seeing in front of you.
Which is regulation of them.
Exactly.
So we're pre-regulated, and then we're using our attachment interpretation validation to regulate their nervous system, which says, hey, you're okay.
Yeah.
You're important here. I see how you got here. This makes sense, which just hits that mirror neuron level, hopefully, and starts their body to slow down on the inside. And most therapists either don't do that or they do one validation, and that just doesn't work.
Exactly. And that's why, I think I was thinking about us and what we do on SV, and I want to just make a quick backside comment. The reason why we give you some specificity is really, it's more for you as the clinicians. because we just want to give you something clear. I think it'll help you feel like I've got something. It's not I'm showing up to the moment with nothing. I have something in my mind that I've practiced that I can now ad-lib in the moment because I've practiced. Does that make sense? And then even with the numbers, when you first taught me that, Ryan, you would say 3 to 5 a lot. Where that 3 to 5 hit me, it didn't become bondage for me. It became a challenge for me.
Yeah.
And because I would
when you say 3 to 5 validations,
3 to 5 validations, sometimes, or Sue even said, if you're not willing to repeat yourself 5 times, pack your bags and go home.
Whoa.
Because she's saying the first few times the amygdala, the fear center of the brain, does not let your most well-crafted, formed intervention, it doesn't get through.
Right.
She said she doesn't see her clients seeing it, they don't hear what she's saying till about the 5th time.
Yeah.
So that says something.
Yeah. And I'm doing something recently at Core Skills, which is getting me made fun of. So then I like it. So I'll be in the middle of a demo in these situations, and I'll be like, and what are we hoping for here? And someone from the group says, well, go vulnerable. And I'm like, trick question, don't hope. So like by the time you finish Core Skills with me, I've said, don't hope like 25 times, which is a funny thing because hope is such an important part of life. It really is. I'm doing a big talk tomorrow at a company, and we're going to talk about hope as one of the cornerstones of mental health. So I'm pro hope. I'm team hope, except for this situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Because when people rush their validation, it's because they're hoping for an exact outcome. Yeah. They have an agenda. I'm trying to force this, which means I'm not really present with what is happening. I'm already 2 steps ahead of you where I want to see you go. And that's deadly because it functions like a yes but. A yes but means no. So basically, I see your block. I give you a quick validation, but try to move you really quickly. And what I basically said is no. I don't see you. I don't see your concern. Do it more. So I'm actually now training you experientially to block more. And that's a no-no. So when someone has a red light in a caregiving system, it's never a bad idea to go back to the sender, wrap another tourniquet. Hey, I want you to know you did a great job. I so appreciate you, what you did and your courage. I love that you're giving me time here. This is right where we're supposed to be. We're looking, we got the engine, we got the hood open. We're looking at the engine of this cycle. We're doing great here. Okay, so let me come back, right? So to spend time there, because if I don't unload your concern there, I'm sending you home with it loaded. So to really contain a space, to spend 3 to 5 rounds of the positive intention of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to say, which lets you regulate and lets you come back in the room, okay? And then we are prepared. We know where we're going, thinking about finishing the mission or whatever it is, to see if I can get some green response from you, to see what you can do. Can you have a little bit of empathy? And then we're going to pass that over. That's our direction that we're going. But that's different. Knowing where you're going is different than hoping.
Yeah.
Right. Hoping is that my body's trying to really, really make this go, and that doesn't sit well.
Yeah. I might know the mile markers and the exit signs and all those things for going from here to South Arkansas. Look, I'm giving y'all some geography of Arkansas. But even though I know that that's the path, and like when I'm getting ready to take that exit towards Little Rock, I don't want to go to Fort Smith. I know it, but I still have to be prepared for whatever happens in the middle on the road. I think that's one of the analogies that come up for me with that.
Exactly.
I know where I'm going. I'm ready for whatever happens on the road, because it might be a flipped over car on the side of the road. That happened to me a couple of weeks ago.
Right?
And I got to slide down an icy road. Right?
Whoa.
That was fun.
That sounds not in South Arkansas.
No, for sure.
So big picture, we're looking at this red light, this caregiving nightmare, where the withdrawer has a very vulnerable partner. And instead of just doing the very simple thing that secure people do, which is to reach over and comfort.
Yeah.
Solace.
And can I get one more thing you said that was good? Because it ties back to something we said on the last time we did caregiving. I liked when you said we need to spend some time with that withdrawers caregiving system that's locked up. But you gave a look. But remember we said last week, I used that Michael Preston thing about we're on the shot clock kind of thing, right? So, but then I liked how you said it's when you recognize this is going to take some time, go back to the sender and remind them you did exactly what you were supposed to do.
Yep.
this is the cycle showing up, and we need to see what the cycle is doing and what it's doing to your partner right here.
Yeah.
And then go back over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked last week in core skills. If you have a really deep send and you have a really strong red light, you may need to layer 3 tourniquets on the initial sender.
Yes, good.
Just making sure their nervous system feels caught, understood, seen, so that, number one, you don't do damage. That's important. But strategically, tactically, I want them to have enough positive reinforcement that they do it again next session. And so that's key. So,
and can I say one more? And I think we've made this clear, but I want to make sure y'all get this. And we don't ever want to put the sender in a spot where they have to give up who they are to comfort the block caregiving system with no acknowledgement that they were dropped. Does that make sense there? Because I think that has been the move sometimes in a mistake. It's, oh, you can't do it. Then you go over to the block caregiving system. And what's so hard here? I just get so scared because this is what happened for me. Okay. And then you turn right back to you have them. Could you turn to your partner and say right now that I just get so scared because this place in my life or this and that? So to me, to clean that up is almost like we've talked about this with the ditch enactment. It's not just to have the sender respond to that the withdrawer's fear, but to be able to have the withdrawer say, hey, this is what's happened to me. I get afraid, but I notice how that lands on you. It still needs to be some form of acknowledgement of the sender, and but not making the sender have to only comfort the caregiving system.
that's right.
Okay. Anyway, I don't know if I said
right.
that clearly, but anyway.
I think so.
Okay.
So big picture before the break. Number one, we're regulated. We don't let this surprise us. Remember, if caregiving systems were smooth and attuned, they would have never called you. So your clients are doing their job by showing you where they're stuck, right? So we're going to regulate ourselves. We're going to move towards this block in the function of parts. To me, in my little pea-sized brain here, I have the part of them that's away from their partner as the blocking system that I'm going to contain and I'm going to validate multiple times. And then I'm going to move back towards the part of them that's towards their partner and see if I can get 1% of empathy online. Even if 99% is blocked and upset or just trying to do avoidance or whatever it is, that's fine. And I want to be fine with that. Can they do 1%? Because what you find is couples who live in cycles get into all or nothing rigidity. Either I got to do it perfectly or I'm not going to do it at all. Or I got to completely agree with you or I can't play. But that's so security is just the ability to tolerate all that.
All right, Ryan, let's take a break.
Hey, I'm excited about an upcoming event here I'd like to invite everybody to. There's a relatively new EFT community called Hampton Roads EFT. There's actually experienced EFTers there, but they're reorganizing into a community. And they're going to have a big launch, first ever EFCT externship. This is going to be in person in Virginia Beach. And this is going to be, to my knowledge, I'm probably wrong about this, but the only time EFT has been taught in view of the ocean. So I don't mean in a city next to the ocean. I mean literally a hotel on the beach. So we're excited about that. That's going to be Virginia Beach, Virginia, September 15th through the 18th, 2026. That's going to be with me in the new community. It's going to be a small externship. It's a first-time launch, and we would love to have you. Repeaters, if you've done externship already, 50% off. Come repeat. Go get your fundamentals again like I did 30 times. And please tell your friends. So we'd love to see you in Virginia Beach, September 2026.
All right, Ryan, welcome back. So now we're going to switch our focus to that pursuer one. And once again, just to reload you with some of that language on the pursuer side, that some of the tendencies with the pursuer in that caregiving role, when they're red lighting is, they're just up in the ante in that moment. And the ways I think I've seen that is almost like, it's like even when the withdrawer is trying their best to send over a vulnerable signal, I don't know, tell me if this outlines, when I see it, it's almost like the pursuer is like, is this real or not? It's like, I don't know, the analogy I've used is they're kicking the tires to make sure that the car is really not going to just fall apart. It's not like a cardboard kind of facade in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell people, I'm just coming off of 2 rounds of core skills. So sorry, I keep going back to that. But I tell people one little intricacy in EFT, and this is mostly in stage 1, but the first several times the withdrawer goes into vulnerability, expect that pursuer to lash them. Doesn't happen every time, but I would say the majority of times the pursuer body has a very paradoxical response to withdrawal vulnerability, right? It's like, I've been chasing this for 20 years. They never let me in. They never let me in. They never let me in. The safety of the therapist and or the skill level of the therapist accesses emotion from that withdrawer, which is exactly what the pursuer is asking for. But then I get it. It's a little bit like that dog chasing the car. You know, it's like, I feel a little run over by this, right? Like, really? I've been trying to get you to open up. You say you love me, and now this, you know, bald therapist in 5 sessions has you dropping into your deepest vulnerability. This feels like a trap. So for a lot of therapists, that can be very frustrating. So see it coming. That's the first piece, kind of right back to regulating ourselves.
I like that. That trap one resonates because does this mean I'm a bad person? Does it mean like, because they've been living in this relationship feeling like, I don't know, like they're the ones that have needs that don't get met. Then when the withdrawer starts talking about, hey, I have a scary place too.
Yep.
I have needs too, that sometimes it can be like, wait, how do I make room for this now?
Right.
This is new to our world.
Right. Or yes, well said. And the pursuer protest, which is really common, is, okay, you only do this in here, but you don't do it at home.
Oh, yeah.
As if the therapist has a new move to make them do it at home.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that's really common. To some degree, we just got to tolerate that, validate that, and keep moving forward. That's that right. Part of the protest.
And mine usually move towards that one is, you're right. You have always wanted this.
Yeah.
You've put out so much to try and get this. Yeah. It feels like gotten so little in return, or you've had the door slammed in your face.
Yeah.
So I totally get why this could be like, can really catch us off guard.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
Exactly. So it's really a parallel process. Both people are learning the strategy that works for them. Right. Pursuers have survived by putting more intensity out, more control out, more energy. Right. They're great workers. No one questions the pursuer's amount of energy they put in. So then the partners, it gets vulnerable, and here it comes. More protest comes forward. So it is a form of love. It is them trying to make something good happen, but it's very misattuned. Right. So it feels bad on the therapist's body, especially if you don't see it coming.
You know, something that's, I think I found some more compassion from my clients, and it comes from my own personal life. I just had this realization, which I know it's true, but it became clear. They don't know that they're doing it.
Right. For sure.
Y'all better take that in. They don't know. They
Very
don't
true.
know. They usually don't know until afterwards, and they're either playing the tape back, and then it's still too hard to look at. Right, especially from the pursuer seat. Because remember, what's one of the things the pursuer is trying to guard from? Being too much, being seen as a monster, having their emotions out of control. So then when they see a moment where their nervous system gets hijacked, and maybe their partner doesn't receive something good on the end of them, that could be a little bit shaming for them. So you have to be careful. Like, they're already going to feel it. So make sure you don't double down with the cycle and double down on your own shame on the pursuer nervous system there.
Right.
That, remember, their energy has been their attempts to stay alive.
There you go. So now I'm just doing what I got to do to survive.
Oof.
Right. But it can function as if they're up in the ante, meaning I'm asking you to come to level 3. You come to level 3 and it's not enough. Now I need level 4. Right. And you do level 4 and it's like, no, it's not enough. I don't trust this. Right. And so really, I think the longing beneath that is, I want this to be so different.
Ooh.
I want to know that we're at a completely different place, that you're not going to drop me again.
Huh. Ryan, I like that move.
Yeah.
Being curious about the longing in the protective strategy. I mean, I know we say it,
Right.
but I don't know why I felt it when you said that. Is, can I be curious with the pursuer or with the withdrawer about the longing inside of their protective strategy? Because they wouldn't be doing it if there wasn't some kind of, ready for this word, Ryan? Hope.
There you go.
You didn't get to hear probably Leanne, so we just did it. But the part where I love, this is Leanne's humanity coming through again. I said, Leanne, with this EFT trauma book, if people could only remember one thing out of the whole book, what do you want? And I'm thinking like, oh, she's going to give this high technical point. And all she looked and loved Leanne's transparent, and just tears came to her eyes, and she said, hope. She said, before Sue died, that's one of the titles we wrestled with, was something about like hope for humanity. Man.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. Yeah, that's good stuff. And yet hope in the block caregiving system is a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Because I continue to ask my partner to go more and more and more to prove to me that you're safe because you've hurt me all those times. Mm-hmm. And yet it's a huge saboteur.
And I think, tell me if this is one strategy I've used in the practical way with a pursuer in that one is definitely it is still going towards them with a lot of validation. Mm-hmm. And then I would say normally, you know, we'd say slow down with withdrawals, but even here I need to slow down with that pursuer because speed becomes, in a way, it's trying to keep them alive, but it becomes their enemy because they don't get to see what's happening to them. Mm-hmm. So I want to slow it down. And I love how you said it. And I love what your energy is telling me right here, right now.
Right.
In this place.
Right.
And I have to like show them the present moment because a pursuer usually either goes back to when it's always failed them or to we won't be able to get this back again. So I need to put this through the test right now with the therapist to protect the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And pursuers are visionaries. That's something that really helps me understand what's going on for them. Like they hold this vision of how good it could be.
Yeah.
And they say things like, and I do think pursuers are a little bit less likely to have affairs, for instance. Mm-hmm. They do, but a little less likely. I really think they often say, and I think more often feel, I don't want anyone else. This is the person I really want. And I know how good they could be if they could just do these 2 or 3 things. Right? And that is such a trap for them because it's hard not to push for how great it could be when I believe in my partner so much, and yet I can't set aside the 2 or 3 things they need to improve to create the safety for the person to organically move towards growth. That's what cycles do to us.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That was another statement right there. That's a good line.
Yeah. So I think with those pursuers, right back to the point, we have to find a way to come towards the misattuned, upping of the ante, increasing of the pressure, and find a way to honor that beautiful energy. It helps if you believe it. So I love this about you. You fight so hard for this relationship. And when you're pushing your withdrawer to work on themselves, go deeper, share their heart, learn to validate me, that's your body trying to say, this is important. Here's how much I believe in you. I love how hard you fight for this relationship. Your push is the way you're fighting for the relationship. If more people in the world fought for relationships the way you do, we would have a completely different world. And I believe that is true. Mm-hmm. So there's 4 or 5 validations. I got to love on this protective protest to see if I can emotionally regulate their body, to see if they can come back in the room and be present right now. Can you give me 1% of a reach for comfort for that withdrawer's pain?
Ooh. Wait. Did y'all hear that? Can you give me 1% of a reach or of comfort?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
1%.
That's all we need. That's all we need. 1% going back and forth. It's like blood going to the new organ.
Leanne, yesterday, I'm going to start doing when we have guests on the show, especially, someone like Leanne, for sure. But I said, hey, Leanne, what's your leading edge in EFT right now? And what are you doing to work on it? And her answer kind of caught me off guard. She said something like, I'm learning now. And she gave, credit to Leading Edge and to SV. But anyway, I would just give credit to all the many trainers. But anyway, she said, I'm learning that trusting the process is actually learning to trust that the caregiver system is to trust the caregiving system. I was like, what?
Say that again.
I'm learning that part of trusting the process is trusting the caregiving system, which makes sense, right? And I like that because, me and Ryan to even jump into this, it's like we put so much trust in a person putting out a signal for vulnerability, but do we trust that the caregiving system is really more powerful than we are? That goes back to that quote from Sue. The response from a therapist is like a flashlight, but a response from the partner is like a stadium floodlight. But what we're talking about today is there are some predictable reasons why they don't turn on the stadium lights for the game.
And it is key what she's saying here because people do know how to respond.
There you go.
And people do know how to share. So the cycle will convince you they don't know what to do. They don't have skills. But you're born with these skills. These are survival instincts. They've just become latent. They've become paralyzed they've lost access to them. So I love what she's saying. It's there. It's the most natural thing in the world to see someone in vulnerability, to stop and care for them.
Man.
No one has to be taught to do that. What we have to do is to re-experience it so that they're like, oh yeah, this is me.
And I want to say something. I want to give, and you might give credit to some, but you and Chad, I remember one time we were in an SV meeting, and you and Chad kept talking about your different lines of going towards a caregiving somatic experience of the moment. And what I loved about the sign of what you and Chad were talking about was y'all were tapping into, I don't know what the right way to say it, the inbuilt human nature to want to care, but the cycle has kind of muted that in some people. And so what you and Chad's questions of is kind of like, tell me if I'm getting the language right. It's so hey, I'm kind of curious, what's happening in your body right here, right now, for your partner as your body sees their fear? What does it want to do? What does it want to say? Or you did one too. I saw you hey, that tells me that's your body's way of trying the best it knows how to be here with your partner. So can we stay with that? Because if your body could speak, if it could do something on their behalf. And what I loved about that was you and Chad are believing that there's something in there that the negative cycle doesn't give them space and curiosity to explore or to take a risk with, to say, I don't know if this is what you want, but this is what my body wants to do for you. And you know why I like that now, Ryan, where it's helping me in my work? I don't know if I've gotten to tell you and Chad this. I find the sender trusted more. Because I say, what is it? Like when I go back to the body out. So Heidi, what was that right there right now? What is it that your partner did that brought that comfort? And you know what they say to me? I saw them working in front of me. I saw how much they fought to stay with me.
Well said.
I saw how much they fought to consider me.
Yeah. That's good old nobody tell ICEEFT I said this. That's good old that's really one of the nice points that David Schnarch used to make, who's Mr. Differentiation, Bo and all that, sex guy. But he called it begrudging respect.
Oh.
That intimacy is often built by begrudging respect, meaning just what you said. I am watching how hard my partner is fighting their old tendencies. I see how hard this is, and I see them breaking through for me. And so my respect for them just went way up. So he listed that as part of differentiation. I'm listing that as part of experiential therapy. So instead of talking about the bond, let's do it. Because you can't develop begrudging respect talking about bonds, talking about emotion, talking about even repair, although that would be my favorite of those 3 or 4 topics. But there's nothing like, let's get in the arena. Let's create some safety for this person. Let's love on their protection system. And let's see if we can create a space for that 1% to come forward. Because the partner seeing them fight for that 1%, it changes the view of other.
Yep.
It's like my respect for you increases. I know that your mom hurt you in this way. I remember this. And so to see you fight to come forward, I mean, that's a powerful intimacy builder. Nice point.
And can I also say this one? Because also it helps me on the pursuer side. They up the ante, because here's what I've heard from some pursuers in the caregiving role. It's, well, yeah, those are just words.
Right.
And so by showing the work of the caregiving system of the partner on the other side, it's like, I know you heard the words, but could your body see how the fear, how maybe the confusion, the lostness came up? And could you see, and they almost started going that way.
Right.
And then I came in and helped them, but could you see how their body converted back over for you? So for right now, that's the action I want you to see, because that's the action you need to know if you can trust them or not. Are they willing to do something different for this relationship to be different? Not just the words, but even in the midst of distress, instead of just shutting down, they fought to stay.
Good.
So I'm turning it into their words as action.
Yeah. And, you know, with pursuers, thinking practically here, I know we're going a little long here, but so one of the phrases I don't like EFTers to use, so if I have any influence over your practice, take the phrase, you're going to your head, out of your language.
Oh, yes.
It's bad. It's bad. We all see it and notice it, but that's a big shame comment. It's not helpful.
And by the way, their ability to try and make sense out of things is a superpower.
For sure. On both sides.
That's right.
But that's what happens, right? So the withdrawer shares something somatic and vulnerable, the pursuer went to their head. I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to observe. So when they say it's just words, they just left the room. They just left the room to go meta, talk about the process. And all their body's really saying is, I so want that. But the last 10 times, I'm sorry, I'm going to use a house metaphor here. The last 10 times we turned the water back on, it flooded our house. So now I'm going to do lots of drains and lots of plumbing and lots of glue and lots of plumber's tape to make sure this doesn't happen again. I need it to be a very high bar to prevent being dropped again, right? So it makes good sense. But they also left the room to go make that comment. So I got to go leave the room with them, maybe after a tourniquet on the withdrawer now. And in the hallway, I've got to spend 3 to 5 times honoring this. I so appreciate what's happening for you even right now. Your body sees the risk. This is the most important person in the world in a very tender moment. If this is a trap or a trick, it would be devastating for you. So I so appreciate what your body just did. I love this about you. You're not someone who's going to settle. You push for things to be as they're supposed to be. You're kind of a redeemer in the world. You want things to be right. Right, so finding a way to regulate their emotion by validating the strategy. And then the great thing about pursuers is there's a resource in front of you at all times. So when the withdrawer shows a tear, shows vulnerability, pursuers cannot not feel. Withdrawers, probably true for them too, but they are more practiced at just sort of icing that over. Pursuers are going to feel something. So if we can slice it so thin, so even just set aside all the validation because there's a cognitive layer to that, and just be like, hey, can you give me 2 minutes here? Repeat the withdrawer's repeat the withdrawer's words, but then point to when you saw those big tears, when you heard their voice crack, did you notice anything in your body? So just trying to slice it thin. I'm not looking for the pursuer to agree. I'm not looking for them to add trust, these big concepts. I'm just asking them to give me 2 minutes to pay attention. When there was that painful place, did you notice anything in your body? And that usually is a fairly convertible moment to get them to pay attention to their empathic response, and then hopefully convert that to a little bit of responsiveness.
You all, thank you for letting us know we went a little long today, but I hope this is a big thing for you, because the reason why I think it's good is this is where I see many people that are training, because you really care about your clients and you want to be a safe person and protect them, that sometimes these enactments can feel so scary. You start hedging your bets to protect them. Ryan and I think our heart here is we want to come alongside you to where you don't have to hedge your bets and stay away from the enactment, but what if the partner can't? But what if they can't? Go ahead and say, they probably can't, and here's how I'm going to help them. You ready?
Yeah.
They might not be able to, but here's how I'm going to help them. And by the way, let me say this too. We are in stage 2, so you've seen proof that they can. It's just at this new level of depth, it might reawaken some of those blocks just because this is a different level of experience for them.
Yeah. And I would just say to cap it for me, occasionally I see people either literally or figuratively say, I don't want to do all this block work. I just want to work with the emotion. Here's what I want to say about that. Number one, it's not about you. It's about meeting them where they are. But working with the blocks is emotional work.
That's right.
It's emotional work. That is the emotional dysregulation is what's showing up on the surface as this misattuned block. So the ability to stay flexible in that moment, to be with that, this is being with them, to work with their blocking system.
And I would just want to drive it home. That's one of my favorite quotes from Sue's ATIP book, right? It is trying to access emotion. You are going to get blocked. And Sue would say in the book, she said, your job is to go ahead and kickstart the process. Like literally Sue is saying, hey, I want you to go on a journey where you're going to get blocked and go ahead and get it started. You're going to go towards a block. We ain't making this up. This ain't a George, Ryan, James thing. Sue put it, I'm like, she's not even like, go back. I'm not even hoping for a clear path today. I'm assuming that if I try and go for your emotion, at some point you're going to block me. So let's get going. Love it. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting us be with you on your leading edge so you can help your clients on the leading edge so that ultimately we can all have success and vulnerability. Appreciate you.
Thank you for listening. We hope this experience helps you push the leading edge in your work to help people connect with themselves and with each other. Please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a 5-star review. You can contact us at pushtheleadingedge@gmail.com, and you can follow us on our Facebook page at Push the Leading Edge. You can follow Ryan on Facebook at Ryan Rana Professional Training and on his website, ryanranatraining.com. You can follow James on Facebook and Instagram at DocHawkLPC. You can also check out his website, dochawklpc.com.